Every single year, the Cannes Film Festival gives us some of the most breathtaking fashion moments in the world. But let's be honest, not every outfit deserves a standing ovation. And honestly, I love dramatic couture. I love bold fashion experiments. But for me, these particular outfits cross the line between artistic and overwhelming. From bizarre silhouettes and excessive layering to confusing styling choices and outfits that looked more like costumes than Cannes glamour, these are top 10 worst dressed stars at the 2026 Cannes Film Festival. Diane Kruger, May 14th. I normally love when Diane Kruger experiments with fashion because she usually knows how to make avant-garde styling look effortless. But this Givenchy Cannes outfit honestly felt like two completely different looks stitched together at the last second. The first thing that threw me off was the combination of that tiny butter yellow satin mini dress with the gigantic forest green ceremonial cape. Individually, I can understand both concepts. The embroidered mini had this playful couture energy, while the dramatic cape clearly wanted to deliver high fashion fantasy. But together, for me, the proportions looked incredibly awkward on the red carpet, and honestly, the cape completely swallowed the outfit. I also think the color combination made the look even harder to process. The soft butter yellow satin against the heavy emerald green cape created such a sharp contrast that my eyes never fully settled anywhere. Personally, I feel like the outfit would have worked much better if the palette had stayed more cohesive instead of fighting itself visually. The styling choices added even more theatrical energy too. The braided sculptural updo definitely matched the regal fantasy aesthetic they were going for, but combined with the oversized cape, it pushed the whole appearance further into high fashion character costume territory for me, rather than chic Cannes elegance. I will say though, the makeup was probably the smartest part of the entire look because keeping it softer and understated prevented the outfit from becoming completely overwhelming. For me, this is one of those Cannes looks where I can appreciate the artistic vision behind it, but the final execution just felt too theatrical and disconnected to actually look beautiful on the carpet. Marion Cotillard, May 20th. I honestly expected so much more from Marion Cotillard at Cannes because she usually delivers that effortless French sophistication so well, but this Chanel look completely missed the mark for me. The second she stepped onto the red carpet at the Roma Elastica premiere, the gown already felt visually confusing instead of elegant. The biggest issue for me was the fabric construction because the spiderweb-style crochet mixed with all those sheer mesh panels made the dress look strangely unfinished under the camera flashes. Instead of feeling luxurious or couture-level refined, the transparency throughout the midriff and legs almost gave the illusion of torn netting in certain photos. And honestly, I think the silhouette itself made the problem worse. The sleeveless body-hugging shape with the high boat neckline could have looked sleek and sophisticated on its own, but once the fully translucent sections were added into the design, the outfit lost that polished canning glamour people usually associate with Marion. What personally didn't work for me was how busy the textures became. Between the diamond-shaped crochet pattern, the sheer inserts, the black mesh layering, and the sparkle from the Chanel high jewelry, my eyes genuinely didn't know where to focus first. The sleek, deep side-parted hair and soft, smoky makeup gave her that classic French cinema elegance she's known for. And honestly, I almost wish the dress had matched that same timeless energy instead of going so experimental. And that's what makes this look disappointing for me because the glam itself was refined, the jewelry was gorgeous, and Marion has the presence to pull off difficult fashion. But the gown ended up looking more awkwardly edgy than chic. Alexa Chung, May 20th. I usually love Alexa Chung's effortless vintage girl fashion aesthetic, but this Cannes Dior look honestly felt far too delicate and confusing for such a major red carpet moment. The entire outfit almost disappeared visually under the flashlights instead of commanding attention the way Cannes Couture usually should. The biggest issue for me was that the gown couldn't seem to decide what mood it wanted to have. The pale, icy blue satin bodice had this soft, romantic, old Hollywood feeling, while the sheer navy embroidered skirt suddenly shifted into something darker and moodier. Then that oversized black satin bow in the middle added yet another completely different focal point. Personally, I just don't think all those elements blended together cohesively. And honestly, the black bow became incredibly distracting. I understand Dior was probably trying to create contrast and structure around the plunging neckline, but for me, it almost looked like a giant ribbon awkwardly pinned onto an otherwise delicate gown. Every time I looked at the dress, my eyes went straight to the bow instead of the craftsmanship or silhouette itself. The low draped back was beautiful in motion, though, and I actually think that was one of the strongest parts of the entire design because it added softness and elegance without trying too hard. The vintage-inspired bob styling also suited Alexa perfectly and gave the look a subtle 1930s glamour that felt very her. But overall, I think the gown lacked impact for Cannes. The understated makeup, muted tones, and fragile fabrics all blended together so softly that the outfit ended up feeling more like a romantic fashion editorial than a memorable film festival red carpet moment. Tilda Swinton, May 21st. Tilda Swinton is one of those celebrities who genuinely treats fashion like modern art. And honestly, sometimes I admire that fearlessness so much. But this Chanel Couture look at Cannes felt more like an abstract painting walking down the carpet than an actual red carpet gown. The craftsmanship was obviously incredible. You can immediately tell Chanel put enormous detail into the burnout velvet textures, feathered elements, and painterly blue and white brushstroke effect. But personally, I think the outfit became so artistic and conceptual that it completely lost any sense of glamour or elegance along the way. What really didn't work for me was the silhouette because under certain lighting, the gown almost looked shapeless instead of sculptural. The mixture of cobalt blue, navy, sky blue, and white blending together created this swirling watercolor effect that looked visually interesting up close. But from a distance, it honestly started resembling draped fabric art rather than couture fashion. And while I understand the zero jewelry approach matched Tilda's signature minimalist style, I actually think this was one of the rare times where the look desperately needed something to break up all the texture happening across the dress. Without any accessories at all, my eyes just got lost inside the overwhelming pattern and fabric treatment. I will say, though, her short platinum hair and minimal makeup suited the avant-garde mood perfectly. Nobody commits to artistic fashion the way Tilda does, and she definitely has the presence to carry difficult runway concepts better than almost anyone else in Hollywood. But for me, Cannes fashion still needs a little red carpet fantasy underneath the experimentation, and this gown leaned so heavily into wearable art installation that it stopped feeling glamorous altogether. Charlotte Gainsbourg, May 18th. I completely understand that Charlotte Gainsbourg has always leaned into this effortlessly messy Parisian rock chic aesthetic instead of traditional glamorous dressing, but honestly, this Cannes outfit looked more confusing than cool to me. The second she walked onto the carpet in that color-blocked Saint Laurent ensemble, it almost felt like several vintage thrift store pieces had been layered together without fully connecting into one polished look. The teal and mustard blazer, the ruffled blouse, and the blue lace-trimmed skirt were all fighting for attention individually instead of creating one strong silhouette together. And personally, I think the color palette was the biggest problem. The mustard yellow, teal green, and rich cobalt blue could maybe work in a high-fashion editorial shoot. The combination looked strangely heavy and dated under the flash photography. Nothing about it felt fresh or luxurious to me. The undone waves and barely there makeup definitely stayed true to Charlotte's signature style. And honestly, I do appreciate celebrities who refuse to completely transform themselves just to fit con and glamour expectations. But in this case, I think the super casual beauty styling made the outfit feel even less red carpet ready. What frustrates me is that Saint Laurent usually does sleek, edgy French sophistication so beautifully, but this look lacked that sharpness completely. It almost felt more like an eccentric art gallery outfit than something designed for one of the biggest film festivals in the world. I will say, though, Charlotte carried it with confidence, and sometimes confidence alone can make unconventional fashion memorable. Zara Larsson, May 21st. I know this Roberto Cavalli archival dress was supposed to deliver that sexy Y2K supermodel energy, but honestly, on the Kanzamfar carpet, the whole look felt more chaotic than glamorous to me. The second Zara Larsson stepped out in all those tropical gradient colors and giant cutouts. It almost looked like three completely different vacation outfits merged into one dress. The biggest issue for me was definitely the color palette, because the bright yellow fading into orange and then suddenly green became incredibly overwhelming under the flash photography. And honestly, the cutouts made the dress feel even busier. Between the exposed waist, plunging décolleté, sheer fabrics, flowing skirt, colorful gradient, jeweled accessories, and tiger bag details, there was just so much happening visually that my eyes didn't know where to settle. I also think the styling leaned too heavily into the Y2K revival trend without modernizing it enough for today's red carpet standards. Sometimes vintage Roberto Cavalli works beautifully because it feels bold and nostalgic in the right way, but here the outfit honestly looked more dated than iconic to me. I will say though, Zara herself looked gorgeous. The bronze glowing makeup, sleek middle-parted hair, and soft glossy lip worked really well with the warm tropical tones of the dress. And honestly, I think the beauty styling was probably the strongest part of the entire appearance because it stayed polished while the outfit itself became increasingly dramatic. Philippine Leroy Beaulieu, May 12th. I absolutely love dramatic Saint Laurent fashion when it's done right, but this Cannes look honestly felt like the dress was wearing Philippine Leroy Beaulieu instead of the other way around. The amount of volume happening from every angle completely overwhelmed her presence on the carpet for me. The deep purple chiffon color itself was stunning. I'll definitely give the gown that. Under the Cannes lights, the shade looked rich, luxurious, and very regal. But once all the oversized ruffles, cascading cape details, plunging neckline, and giant tiered skirt entered the picture together, the outfit started feeling visually exhausting instead of elegant. And honestly, the fabric choice made the drama even harder to control because the chiffon was so airy and parachute-like. Every movement created even more volume around her body, which sometimes made the silhouette look less couture and more like layers of floating fabric swallowing the entire frame. What personally didn't work for me was the neckline area, because there was already so much happening with the giant ruffles around the chest and shoulders. Cannes gowns obviously need drama, but this outfit kept adding dramatic feature after dramatic feature until the overall appearance lost balance completely. The beauty styling was probably the smartest part of the look, because the softer hair and neutral makeup stopped the outfit from becoming completely theatrical. I actually think if the glam had been any stronger, this could have crossed fully into costume territory. Demi, May 16th. I honestly could not believe this was the same Demi who gave us those sleek, polished old Hollywood Cannes moments earlier in the festival, because this hot pink Matières Fecales gown felt like a completely different universe altogether. And personally, this experiment just did not work for me at all. The second she stepped onto the paper tiger carpet, the dress already looked intentionally chaotic. I understand the label was trying to deconstruct traditional couture and lean into this rebellious avant-garde aesthetic, but for me, the shredded hems and distressed details ended up making the gown look unfinished rather than artistic. The giant oversized bow across the bust immediately became the center of attention, but honestly, not in a good way. Instead of creating elegant drama, the exaggerated structure almost looked cartoonish under the flash photography, especially paired with that extremely bright neon pink color. And I think the problem got even bigger once the raw frayed edges started spilling over the tulle underneath. The distressed texture may have worked in a runway editorial or conceptual fashion campaign, but at Cannes, it honestly gave the impression that the gown had been damaged before arriving on the carpet. Normally, Demi looks incredible with sleek styling, so seeing the dramatic curls mixed with this loud architectural dress made the whole appearance feel even busier visually. I will say though, her makeup looked beautiful. The softer, radiant skin and understated glam were probably the smartest choices of the entire look because if the makeup had been equally dramatic, I think the outfit would have become completely overwhelming. Rinna, May 21st. I'm sorry, but this look honestly felt like every possible dramatic fashion idea got thrown together at once with absolutely no editing. The second Rinna stepped onto the Amphar carpet in that giant platinum bouffant and rainbow couture gown, it instantly became one of the most chaotic fashion moments of the entire con season for me. The Kevin Germanier dress was already extremely loud on its own. Between the metallic fabrics, rainbow gradient colors, oversized beads, sparkling textures, and all those tinsel-like details exploding from every angle, the gown already demanded 100% of the attention, but then adding that gigantic teased platinum wig on top pushed the entire look into almost parody-level extravagance. Honestly, I couldn't stop staring at the hair because it looked so exaggerated and overbuilt that it completely overshadowed everything else. Instead of glamorous volume, the bouffant ended up feeling closer to costume wig territory for me, especially combined with such an aggressively colorful outfit underneath. And personally, I think the biggest issue was that nothing had balance. Kana's fashion usually works best when one dramatic element becomes the statement. Maybe the gown, maybe the hair, maybe the makeup. But here, everything was screaming at the same time. Giant hair, giant platforms, giant sparkle, giant color gradients, giant textures. My eyes genuinely didn't know where to focus. The heavy eyeliner and fantasy-style makeup added even more intensity, which honestly made the whole appearance feel less like luxury couture and more like a theatrical stage performance. I understand Kevin Germanier's fashion is intentionally maximalist and playful, but on the Cannes carpet, this crossed into visual overload for me. And to be fair, I'll always respect celebrities who take risks instead of playing it completely safe, because fashion would honestly be boring without experimentation. Even though these looks personally didn't work for me, almost every single one of them got people talking. And in the world of Cannes fashion, that's still a kind of success. Now, I really want to know your opinion. Which look from this list do you think was the worst at Cannes 2026? And was there any outfit here that you secretly loved even though everybody else hated it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more celebrity fashion rankings.